Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. My name is Alfonso David. I'm Deputy Secretary for Civil Rights for Governor Andrew Cuomo. We're here today to provide a status report and highlight new and recent developments of the New York Youth Works Program. And it's a program that provides training opportunities to at-risk youth, and it places them into jobs as well as provides tax incentives to employers who hire at-risk youth. I'd first like to acknowledge some special guests that are here with us today, representing companies that have committed to participate in the Youth Works program. Michael D'Ambrose, who's the Director of Entertainment for Staten Island Yankees. Rick Murphy, who's the General Manager of Tri-City Valley Cats. Roy Wieland, who's the Regional Vice President for Government Relations for Time Warner Cable. And Dan Ahaus, who's the Vice President for Government Affairs for Cablevision. For our program today, after I speak, you will hear from Mylan Dinerstein, who's Governor's Counsel. You will then hear from Assembly Member Kareem Kamara, Assembly Member Keith Wright, Assemblywoman Michele Titus, Senator Joe Robach, Michael O'Sullivan from the Hillside Family of Agencies, and then finally from a very impressive young man who will benefit from this program, Jameer Williams. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Mylan Dinerstein, Counsel to the Governor, who will set the groundwork for this program. She was very instrumental in actually starting this program. She will highlight some of the details of the program and where we are.
Thank you, Alfonso. Good afternoon. Today we have a big announcement for businesses and young unemployed New Yorkers who we want to get back to work. We're all about jobs. Since Governor Cuomo officially kicked off the New York Youth Works program in late January, more than 120 businesses have joined the program, creating 2,900 full and part-time job openings for youth in disadvantaged neighborhoods across the state. However, this is just the start, and we are here today to applaud businesses who have joined us, but also to encourage more businesses and young people to sign up for New York Youth Works. The program benefits both unemployed youth and businesses. It helps at-risk young people develop the skills they need to excel in the workplace and gives companies new employees they need that have already received quality job training. It's a win-win for all of us. And as an incentive to hiring underserved youth, employers get a $3,000 wage subsidy in the form of a tax credit for up to 6 months. Further, an extra $1,000 tax credit is available to employers who retain their new employees for an additional 6 months. We are also thrilled today to announce that Time Warner Cable and Cablevision have both agreed to run public service announcements to promote New York Youth Works. The announcements will begin airing next week and will encourage additional young people and businesses to get involved. Our goal is to have 7,000 young people enrolled. And by working together and with our partners in the legislature and all of New Yorkers out there, we're going to reach this number and take a big step forward in helping our inner city communities all across our state rebuild and come out of this crisis stronger than ever before. In the 15 months that Governor Cuomo has been in office, creating jobs has been a top priority, with minority youth facing unemployment rates that are simply unacceptable, up to 40% in our state. This program is here to help those who need it most. And at this point, I just want to make sure we thank the legislature, because we couldn't have done it without them, and introduce Assemblyman Kamara, who is also the head of the Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and Asian Legislative Caucus. Thank you.
Thank you, Mylan. And we just have to really thank the governor for his commitment and for his vision. This demographic that we're talking about, particularly 16 to 24-year-olds, one of the most challenging demographics in terms of employment. Since 2008, we've been talking about the Great Recession. but many urban centers have been dealing with a depression in terms of youth employment. So this right here is a great effort. Again, we thank the governor for his vision, and we've made great strides already. We have to continue to get the word out to businesses for them to be a part of this process. This is one of the most significant commitments on the municipal, state, or federal level in terms of employing 16 to 24-year-olds. Studies show that if we don't get them, if we don't connect them to employment or education by the time they're 24, then chances are that we will never connect with them. So we have to do everything in our power as state government to connect with them. So again, thank you to the governor. Thank you, Michele Durnestein, for effort. Deputy Secretary Alfonso David, we thank you for your effort. And we look forward as a caucus to being involved with the next steps to make sure we employ more young people in cities throughout our state. Thank you. The next speaker is going to be no other than Assemblyman Keith Wright, who is the chair of the Standing Committee on Labor in the Assembly.
Thank you, Karim Kamara. Thank you, Alfonso David. And thank you, Michele Durnestein. The overriding refrain that I hear whenever I travel throughout my district of Harlem and the Harlems throughout the state of New York is that I need a job. I need a job. I need a J-O-B. Nothing would do more to help our communities better than a J-O-B. As I walk throughout the city of New York, for the most part, I see our folks standing on the corners with hoodies and their pants down below their waists. And it's, quite frankly, it is wasted opportunities and waste of talent, which could do New York State a world of good. I'm glad Governor Cuomo has put forth this initiative. On February 19th of this year, I had a job fair at the Harlem Armory. No less than 3,500 people participated in that job fair. We had about 60 employers, and when I told the employers of the New York Youth Works program and how they could make money by hiring disconnected youth, they ran to fill out an application. Now, hopefully, we will get more and more employers to participate, because this would make them money. This would bring our kids into the workforce and make our communities a better place. So, all told, in Harlem, we have Dinosaur Barbecue, who has taken the most advantage of this opportunity, and I'm going to be beating the pavements with our 125th Street bid, our Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce, and on throughout the state of New York to make sure that our businesses do, in fact, participate in this program. There is a time limit, so we're looking to extend the time limit if we can, but tell the businesses, extra, read all about it, come and participate. If you hire disadvantaged youth, you will not only make money, but make our communities a better place. Thank you, Governor Cuomo, for participating in this program.
All right. Introduce Michele.
Oh. I want to introduce the great chair of the Social Services Committee and an integral part of this process in the New York Works program, Chairwoman, Assemblywoman Michele Titus of Queens.
Thank you. Thank you, Michele. Thank you, Alfonso. And good afternoon. I'm Assemblywoman Michele Titus, and I represent communities in Queens, including Far Rockaway, South Ozone Park, Springfield Gardens, and Rosedale. And I am pleased to stand here as we congratulate the New York Youth Program for such a great start thus far. I have to say, just driving up to work this morning, I heard on the radio there were 5 violent incidents, gunshots, stabbings, all including our young people. And unfortunately, this is not an uncommon story that you hear on the news. We cannot just stand by and let our communities across this state suffer. And that's why I joined with my colleagues and Governor Cuomo last year to create the New York Youth Works program. Creating jobs and training our youth has to be a top priority. And the New York Youth Works program has already demonstrated that it's tackling that problem of our youth unemployment. Although we have over 100 businesses that have already signed up, and that we've created over 3,000 positions, there's still many more availability for companies to join in and for our unemployed New Yorkers to join in. So I urge our young people who have had difficulty finding a job to get involved, and I also encourage our businesses, big and small, to take advantage of the hiring incentives so that we can create jobs and recreate and restore our communities. I want to thank the governor and my colleagues in the legislature for joining together to provide those opportunities for those that need it the most. And now I'd like to introduce Senator Robach.
Thank you. Good morning. I am delighted to be here to join the governor's staff and my colleagues. I represent the city of Rochester and also chair the Labor Committee, and it's already been said, but it's really true, as we've had this economic challenge, no regions have been hit harder than our urban cores and our young people. So this program is very, very much right on target and needed. I too was happy to join this effort last year with the governor, focusing on jobs in all aspects, from policies to regular companies and employments, but these specified efforts very, very much needed. And in Rochester, we're a little bit, I would say, ahead of the curve. We have had Hillside Work Scholarship Program and the Summer of Opportunity Program, which very similar to this, will not only create these opportunities, but why they're so important too. Everybody needs a job. How do you spell that, Keith?
J-O-B.
But also, in addition to a job, what's so great about these, rather than when I was a kid growing up in the city of Rochester, in a lot of the jobs where government make work, this is working in the private sector where people are not only going to earn income, but are going to get connections and career paths that they may not be able to get at all on their own. So I really, really greatly applaud the governor for this effort. I want to just take a moment to applaud really Wegmans, food markets, which I'll put the ad in. If you aren't from our area, you don't have those, get to that grocery store. It is the best one in the nation. No kidding. The Rochester Red Wings, Monroe Motor Products, Trueform Manufacturing, Elsco, and a lot of other companies in Rochester who have already stepped up. We want people to step up all across the state, help these kids in the inner cities of Rochester and across the state. But I will also tell you from our earlier experience, you will not only be helping somebody get an opportunity, but you will be surprised of the breadth of talent out there if just given a chance. So I want to applaud Governor Cuomo for this. This is definitely going to help jumpstart our economy, starting with the demographic of young urban people that need it the most, and happy to be a small part of it. Thanks. Oh, and now it is my privilege to introduce from the aforementioned Hillside organization, which runs a great work scholarship program, Tim O'Sullivan.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike O'Sullivan, and I'm the Managing Director of Government Affairs for the Hillside family of agencies. For more than 25 years, Hillside has been providing training and development opportunities for at-risk teens in Rochester, Buffalo, and Syracuse. Along those lines, we've worked with businesses across the state of New York to prepare and train young people for successful careers. The New York Youth Works program has already been met with a lot of enthusiasm for businesses across the state and in Rochester, and have got more than 100 businesses signed up, committing to almost 3,000 jobs. Many of the businesses that Hillside's worked with have lined up to help young people, including the aforementioned Wegmans, which is a longtime partner of ours and helped develop our work scholarship program. Other businesses have also gotten involved. 5 minor league baseball teams that are in the New York Penn League, some of which are here with us today, the Buffalo Bisons, the Rochester Red Wings, the Tri-City Valley Cats, the Brooklyn Cyclones, and the Staten Island Yankees will also be hiring a total of more than 130 kids. It's clear that investing in people, particularly our young people, is good not only for business, but great for communities as we prepare these young people to be productive and healthy citizens. I would like to thank the governor on behalf of Hillside and the entire legislature for their forethought in creating this program, their leadership in addressing this critical issue. Now I have perhaps the best opportunity on the program, and that's to introduce one of the young people that stands to take advantage of this program, and that is Jameer Williams. Jameer.
Good afternoon. my name is Jameer Williams. I'm 24 years old, and I'm proud to say that I'm a U.S. veteran. I graduated from Albany High right here in Albany. I spent 6 months in college, and I followed my grandfather's footsteps in joining the Army. I returned from Iraq a year ago. I've been looking for a full-time job since then. A few weeks ago, I received an email from New York Youth Works stating that I've apparently qualified for their program. So I went to one of New York's one-stop career centers located right here in Albany, and I filled an application out. Within the week, I had several, not one, several interviews set up for this week. Actually, I just came back from my first one today with a company called Comfortex. Now, Comfortex is a business right here in the Capital Region that sells manufactured window treatments. Now, my experience with the military has taught me a lot about leadership, discipline, hard work, and above all else, a strong sense of love for your country, which I believe a lot of employers, they look for this. They look for that in their future employees. I like nothing more to show local businesses that I have exactly what it takes to succeed, and I believe that the New York Youth Works program can help me do that. I also like to encourage other young people out there looking for work. New York Youth Works, and New York Works is helping me, and it can help others too. And I'd like to take this time to thank Governor Cuomo and the Department of Labor for all they've done for me thus far. This is a great program that can change lives and change communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Jameer. We're happy to take a few questions from the press as we conclude the program.
How do you determine eligibility? Is it a certain income level, and who makes the determination?
Sure. The determination is made by the Department of Labor. There's certain criteria that we look to, and it's all posted online. Whether or not someone is a veteran is one criteria. Whether or not you're on public assistance, that's another criteria. Whether or not you're homeless, that's a third criteria. There are about 8 to 10 criteria that we look to determine whether or not someone qualifies for the program.
Talking a little bit about job training, maybe one of the elected members could comment on this. Just a little bit about the technology gap. I mean, when youths are applying for jobs, is it harder to get them up to speed on the technology and the skills they have in the workplace?
I would try that. Certainly, the more qualified, or I shouldn't say qualified, the more access someone has to technology, the more experience that they have, the more education, the easier transition. But obviously, these are companies also, many of which are going to do their own training as people come in the door. And I think people will come in with different skill sets, but the goal really is to not only have employment, but train. And I don't care if you have a PhD. If you go to certain companies, they're going to train you to do things a certain way. So I don't think that's a deterrent at all. I almost look at it as a plus that for people that are already there, it'll be a smoother transition. For ones that may need that training in addition to the opportunity, I think many of these companies that have agreed are going to certainly provide that training, which will just be another asset for them as they go along their career path.
Is there a similar program in the works for upstate rural communities?
This program applies to 12 communities throughout the state. We're looking to expand the program certainly, and to the extent that there are other communities that should be affected, that are affected, we're going to look at that as well. But for now, this program applies to 12 communities throughout the state. Those are online, correct. Albany, Yonkers, the full list of 12. Rochester is online.
What would the impact be on this program if the legislature does raise the minimum wage?
What would be the impact on the program? It wouldn't have any impact at all. The idea here is to identify disadvantaged youth, at-risk kids that are looking for job opportunities. If the minimum wage is increased, I would think that that would benefit the kids, but it wouldn't have any impact on this program. There is still a need to address the unemployment rate in minority communities and disadvantaged communities.
Are you looking for businesses that can offer full-time jobs or seasonal jobs like summer jobs?
Both. This program allows employers to hire youth for both full-time positions as well as part-time positions.
Any what, Keith? J-O-B.
J-O-B.
Any job at all.
And the tax benefit would be the same if it was a single job, if it's smaller?
The tax benefits are the same, but they apply differently depending on whether or not the employer extends the employment outside of the 6-month time frame.
Length of employment.
Have you gotten requests from, question of whether this program will extend, have you gotten requests from small cities, Binghamton or Watertown, to potentially include yours in expansion?
We have certainly spoken with other cities that are interested in participating in the program, which is why we're looking to see whether or not we could expand it.
I'm very, well, Milan mentioned that the hope was to see it expand to 10,000 young people. Is there any kind of timeline for that effort?
Yes, I mean, that's why we're so happy about the public service announcements and why we want to do events like this today. It's to get the word out so that as many people apply and we get as many jobs as possible so we can make the matches so people can work.
Is there anything that serves as a disqualification for being considered for the program? I know sometimes
You already have a job.
Good question.
Employment and age.
Good question.
No, there are only two, I think, disqualifiers. If you already have a job, and if you are outside of the age bracket, 16 to 24. In fact, one of the criteria that we're looking for are juveniles who have had some interaction with the criminal justice system, because we understand that in many instances they've had challenges obtaining jobs.
Why the decision to go 16 to 24? I mean, obviously 16 to 18-year-olds, most of those kids may still be in high school and can only do a part-time job. Why the decision to that as opposed to full-time and older?
It's the highest unemployment among that age bracket. If you look across the country, that's how it's classified for 16 to 24. It's a different bracket beyond 24.
Why does this program, if you caught fire, so to speak, and other kind of job programs, have to be really successful with you guys?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Why this particular program, why do you think it's had the success it's had so early when other programs may not have gotten off to such a fast start? Is this a statement of the demand that's out there for these jobs, or is there something different about these programs?
Well, I can't comment about other programs, but I can say this. Milan mentioned this, certainly the Assembly member mentioned this as well, Keith Wright. You know, when you're talking about communities that have been impacted for quite a long time, whether it be African American kids or Latino kids or kids that are Caucasian and that are facing challenges in their communities, one of the biggest challenges that they face is obtaining a job. And I think this program deals with that issue right on, directly, to make sure that we address that problem. There are kids that need these jobs, and this program is actually feeding a need that's out there.
And it's a win-win for not only the employers, but for the employees as well.
Do you have a breakdown or how many jobs in each community, like say in New York City?
Yes, we do have that breakdown, and we can provide that to you. Any other questions?
You said there's a goal of 7,000 or 10,000. Will there be a point where there's a limit to how many people can?
Well, the limit will be if we can get every young person who's disaffected employed. I mean, that's the goal. It's a lofty goal, but that's the idea. We started this program to address a problem, and we're hopeful that we can address a problem and make a significant dent. To the extent that we are unable to solve the problem, we are very, very open to expanding this program to really address this problem in an impactful way.
Do you think the program will ever become too expensive if there are too many people involved?
I don't think so, and the reason why is this. Not only are we providing the tax incentives to employers to make sure that there is an incentive for them to participate in the program, but if there is a need, if they have jobs that they need to fill, these kids are available to fill these jobs. We'll see what happens in the future, but at this point, we're trying to address a problem that we're faced with.
What is the unemployment rate for?
It's more than 40% in certain districts.
In the urban areas.
The urban areas is more than 40%. I know that in Mount Vernon is more than 60%.
Is there any kind of a procedure to follow up with businesses taking part in this to see how well participants are doing on the job?
Yes, absolutely. We're working with non-for-profits that will be responsible for training these kids to participate in job opportunities that may be available. And as they go through the program, we're working to make sure that we work with employers to the extent that they have concerns, to the extent that they may need additional support. We're going to work with those employers who hire at-risk kids.
Is this a case of, are you depending on people to come to this website, say the people who are applying, the youth, or is there an outreach piece to this as well?
Both. We've engaged in extensive outreach, and it's going to continue. I think Assemblymember Wright mentioned that we hosted a workshop or an event in his district. We're doing that throughout the state to raise awareness. But in addition to that, there's a robust website and has a lot of information, Q&As for both youth and businesses and not-for-profits as well, to make sure that they are aware of the program and can participate.
Is there any data as to which has been most successful in the outreach for people going directly to the site?
Not at this point. I think we do have a lot of businesses that are participating, and we want to make sure that we raise the awareness among the youth.
You had mentioned homelessness as one of the prerequisites or whatever. Is there also a housing situation that would go along with this?
Yes, public assistance as well. If you are a member of a family on public assistance, or if you are on public assistance, you qualify for the program.
But would housing be provided for somebody who is homeless?
No, housing is not a component of this program. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very, very much.
You're ready, Congressman Alfonso. You know,
Good luck. I hope you